Welcome to Uncaged, the show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we're going to Zurich to speak with Gretta Antonescu. Gretta, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me here.
Gretta, I mean, you've had an amazing career. She has been a transformational leader in the financial services space. She's been the head of e-sales. She's been the COO of global trading for Credit Suisse, the chief operating officer at Credit Suisse of the equity derivatives and cash trading and sales. Lots and lots and lots of extremely valuable experience. She's now the member of the board of advisors at Qodeo, and we'll talk more about what Qodeo is doing in terms of matching venture capital investors up with some exciting entrepreneurs. But we're also going to be talking about some of the other things that Gretta is involved with today. Gretta, thank you so much for being on Uncaged. Tell us a little bit about your amazing background.
Well, quite a long journey. I was born and raised in Romania, where I left from 23 years ago, went to London to get my master's in banking and finance. Been running sales and operations for a commodities brokerage firm in London. Years later, moved to New York to join Credit Suisse First Boston at the time and work in sales in fixed income. However, the most important part of my career has been in Switzerland because as of 2006, for personal reasons, I decided to relocate and have joined Credit Suisse, with which I stayed for 16 years. It's been an amazing journey. I have held roles as you mentioned, the Chief Operating Officer for various trading units within the investment banking division. And in addition, and I would say most importantly, I was the head of electronic trading, sales and services for Credit Suisse for almost 16 years. It was an amazing journey because at the time I arrived, there were lots of things that they were not in place. So it kind of provided me with a empty canvas to start producing, to start creating. And one of my biggest achievements that I'm really very proud of is this electronic trading platform, which actually I pioneered and introduced, and which basically is the only platform that gives clients of Credit Suisse and relationship managers a way to electronically trade all the products produced by investment banking and distributed into wealth management. Great journey also because as a chief operations officer in investment banking, but also in charge of such a e-product that is being used by our wealth management clients, you get to learn and to deal with everything from an operational point of view on the investment banking side, but private banking as well. But also you deal with all the regulations, legal implications, compliance, risk, operational framework. So basically, I have quite a curious mind and I like to have a 360 degree overview of things. So I don't think I could have ever been just a salesperson or just a trader, but rather someone who deals with things from all angles. And this is what being the chief operation officer offered me in terms of experience. Yeah. However, obviously, after so many years in the industry, we're talking 19 years in financial services and 16 at Credit Suisse, I arrived at the point in time 2 years ago to actually start planning the next 20 years of my career. And this is how I thought that one of the best ways to take everything I learned and to put it at use for other companies, but also for myself to learn new things was to get into corporate governance. Yeah. So right now, in the meantime, I went and studied, got myself certified with various organizations. So I'm now into the whole board advisory, supervisory boards field, being in really interested in securing board mandates, not only in financial services industry, but also in fintech and any type of company, private equity, venture capital that has a touch with the financial services industry.
Amazing. I mean, I think about the wealth of experience that you have, and wow, can you imagine what trading was like before e-trading?
No. Well, I can tell you when I joined in 2006, if you were a relationship manager or a client and wanted to do a trade, be it an FX spot or a derivative or a structured product, you had to call the RM, who had to call someone, to call someone, to call the trading floor, and then the whole thing back. So you can imagine by the time you got to trade, the price would move so how many times. So it was really exciting to be able to, in 1 year, basically, we managed to pull this together, to be able to give them an interface, a UI, through which that you just put the product you want to trade, you play with various variables, you decide, and once you decide to trade, you press the button, everything is done, booked in the clients, booked in the risk trading books, everything. So it's really, really nice. Technology is quite fancy.
Yeah, no, it's great. And anyone who has done and worked with the financial services industry, building technology is really kind of part of the industry now, but making sure that it is the fastest, the latest, the greatest, the most secure. Every element has to be thought through, the compliance angles, all of those challenges. And so, I mean, it is a huge achievement as to what you were able to do. And certainly the range of experiences offers you such a great position to provide corporate governance and guidance. And so tell me a little bit about what you're doing in that role now as a part of the board of advisors for Qodeo.
Qodeo, yes. So Qodeo, I met with the CEO during 2019. It was a fintech mission organized by the UK consulate in Zurich. And we got to talk about this amazing technology, basically what's all about. So he's an ex-venture capital entrepreneur, and he realized that what was missing in the market, it's he likes to call it online dating platform in between entrepreneurs in need of venture capital and venture capitalists looking for entrepreneurs who might have proposals that would be an interest for them. So we have a very smart team of people. They came up with an algorithm. So on one side, you, as an entrepreneur, you sign up, you complete this questionnaire, and then based on what you fill in there, and based on what on the other side they have from the venture capital world, they'll match you with a potential company interested to start a discussion with you to see if they want to invest in your company. It's really fascinating. It's really, it is like an online dating, the matching platform, even, but it's more, I would say it's more serious.
Yeah, no, it's extremely important and valuable. And I can see how you playing a role there would be very, very helpful for helping them scale that operation.
Yes.
But, you know, one thing you mentioned, Greta, to me, and we haven't discussed yet, is your background in psychology, you know, behavioral therapy a little bit. I think it's important to mention because, you know, we've lived through this pandemic, which really challenged mental health, I think, across the board. But also, you mentioned a phrase to me that I just love, mental fitness. So tell me more about what you're thinking about and what you're working on in that space.
Yes. So, you know, when you work in this industry, financial services, for so many years, you know very well, you are surrounded by thousands of people. We work on open trading floors. There is no, you know, from 12, 14 hours a day, all you have is human interaction. So throughout the years, and especially during and after the pandemic, I realized actually that 60 to 70% of what happens in business is actually driven by human interaction, less by facts and more by human interaction. So this is how I started 2 years ago. I started to look into psychology. Long story short, I won't get into details. I got myself certified. And initially I said, I'm going to do it for myself because I want to get really to the bottom of it, to understand how I can better myself. And this is how then I came up with wait a second, mental fitness. So for all these years, we've been focusing on having a high IQ and having fit bodies. But you never hear anybody talking about how about having a fit mind. And what is a fit mind? You know, what does it take to have a fit mind? So a fit mind is basically, if you think how we operate in business, we all operate based on the left part of the brain, analytical part, and the right part, which is the emotional part. Now, very few people know that 90% of our actions, immediate response, comes from the emotional brain. And this is why it's important. Mental fitness comes to are you self-aware, and how do you self-regulate your emotional brain? So I read lots of research papers, and Oxford actually came with a paper last year. They analyzed 1,500 executives globally, and they found out that the number one capacity for executive and personal success was the capacity to self-reflect and self-regulate states of mind. Now, going back to mental fitness, what does it mean to self-regulate a state of mind? What's a state of mind? A state of mind, it's your set of thinking, of beliefs that are driving your behavior, your outlook in life, and your mind attitude. So basically, if you think like an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, it's our behavior. It's what people see and what we hopefully also are aware of. But actually, what is at the bottom, what's driving this behavior sits under the waterline. And this is the set of feelings, thoughts, beliefs, mindsets, and inner, core identity we built throughout the years. And this is the thing on which we need to work in order to be fit, to show to the world a behavior that is true to ourselves, but also it's likable by the others, and it works in the environment where you are,
Yeah.
So mental fitness can be achieved in many ways, as we discussed previously, like body fitness. You can do it by the year, say, okay, I'm going to take some weights and do it on my own. More or less, you're going to get results or not, depends on how disciplined and knowledgeable you are. Or you can do it by the book. So by the book, you can do it in two ways. There is this thing called neuroscience-based coaching, and this is one thing in which I specialize and I get myself certified, in which you work with clients on the neuroscience of their behavior, which again goes back to, okay, mindset. So you say, okay, this is the old story, which is the current story. And old story contains your current negative emotional triggers and your usual response. And this is the new story you want to write, the new you. So how do you get yourself self-grounded? So you assess that you have these triggers and this behavior, and what's the ideal response you want to have. And working together with clients, you help them to identify what triggers them, what triggers their behavior, the habit they want to get rid of, and how they can get rid of that. And this is how, if you do it every day, then it's like an exercise that you continually do it with yourself on a daily basis. It's a written exercise, by the way, it's not in your head. Every day you sit down, okay, today I had this emotional trigger, and this is how I responded, and I don't like it. So then how I would like to respond, and how do I get myself centered to do that? So if you do it on a daily basis, it becomes, with exercise, it becomes actually a way of thinking, and in the end becomes who you are. So it's the same with the body fitness. If you work out 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a day, in the end, that's your body. Yeah. So it's the same with the brain. So that's one way, the neuroscience-based coaching. The other way, which I specialize in, and it's amazing, and I encourage people to go and read online because there is a ton of information. It's called rapid transformation therapy. And this is something that's been put together by a very well-known international psychotherapist called Marisa Peer. She's been in the industry for 30 years, really famous. And basically what she did, she pulls together Neuro-Linguistic Programming, cognitive behavioral therapy, psychology, and hypnotherapy. And together, she put together a curriculum that in 1 to 3 sessions, anybody could get to the bottom of what is actually blocking them in life from achieving whatever. I want to, get rid of a bad habit. I want to gain more confidence. I want to get rid of a phobia, whatever. It's amazing. It's absolutely a very special way of dealing with things because it works with the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is where from 95%, again, the emotional mind of our reactions come from. So it's a fascinating topic. I could talk about it for hours.
The other thing I think it's interesting, Gretta, is that I listen to you and I can see that you are a strong believer that, in fact, people can make improvements, right?
Absolutely. But this is neuroscience and neuroplasticity. This is nothing esoteric about it. This is really science. what neuroplasticity is. Neuroplasticity is all the brain wiring you have in your brain in between the neurons. Because what is a thought? A thought actually it's an electronic exchange impulse in between two neurons.
Right.
So if for example, for 50 years, you had the same type of thinking, just think like a matrix like this, if you had this for 50 years, you'll always have this thinking and you'll always apply it wherever you go. However, if you think that something wrong with your thinking with regards to one particular thing, let's just say I want to stop, I don't know, procrastination, for example, or I want to be more confident, or I want to get rid of the fear of speaking in public, or many executives have imposter syndrome. I want to get rid of the imposter syndrome because I actually don't think that these shoes are too big for me. If you want to change that, you need to change your thinking. Now, every thought is driven by a belief. So I believe something, hence I think that's the case. So in order to change your thinking, you need to change your beliefs. But the beliefs, you form the beliefs based on interpretation you gave to an event in your life or a series of events. So you need to go back to the event that triggered that set of beliefs. And once you change the interpretation of the event, you change then the belief, and hence you change the resulting thinking process.
I'm thinking something so fascinating here, Greta, and I don't know if it's happening, but as you think about this next phase and what you're working on, I mean, clearly you're supporting businesses as an advisor, as someone focused on corporate governance, but what an interesting area to delve into, and how you bring the psychological angle together with that and really raise the performance of the whole operation. What an amazing idea.
Absolutely. Because once, the other thing about mental fitness is that the result is that it doesn't only help you to change your life, to better understand yourself, but it helps you to better understand the others also. And that's paramount in business. They keep talking nowadays a lot about the importance of emotional intelligence. Yeah. They're even talking of introducing in job descriptions, like a high level of emotional intelligence, demonstrate situations where you prove emotional intelligence. Well, emotional intelligence, it's hand in hand with mental fitness.
Yeah.
You cannot understand the others, because this is what EQ means, the capability to understand what triggers the others to behave in a certain way, and you as a leader to be able to accommodate that. You cannot do that if you don't know how to manage yourself.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And Greta, it's been incredible talking to you about it. But I mean, as you think about the near future, really going in, we're here in January. I know you said it's a little dark right now in Zurich, but perhaps it's a good time to think about the year as we get into it and where things are evolving. What are you excited about this year, and what's on the horizon?
Well, I'm excited first on the corporate governance side. I expect to see big strides with Qodeo, because they're working on a global expansion, and that really gets my strategy brain to, into the it kicks in the active mode, and I'm very good at that. I'm actually talking to them about expanding. They're not that popular in the Southern Europe, and I'm an Italian speaker, Spanish speaker, so I can help a lot, and also in the Swiss market. So that's very exciting. Also, it's exciting because it's about, as I said, matching startups, entrepreneurs, pre-IPOs with venture capitalists. So it's all sorts of businesses. So it's good to get involved in that area. Also, I'm very excited because I'm a member of an international organization called the Virtual Advisory Board, and it's an amazing organization with amazing members from across the globe, and we have various events and networking and also business opportunities. So I'm going to get involved more in that regards there. And then on the psychology side, I actually founded a company. It's called Mental Fitness Academy, and I have my website, mentalfitnessacademy.co. And I really am excited about discussing more opportunities for collaborations with corporations, because what I offer through these services, it will definitely help professionals at any level, but especially senior executives, to better perform in their not only professional life, but also personal life. So I'm looking to start conversations with several corporations to see how we can maybe even do it in a more standardized way.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Greta, if someone wanted to learn more about the Mental Fitness Academy or any of these
Yes,
other exciting things that you're
yes.
working on, where's the best place to reach you?
Well, first is my website, which is going to be launched this week, mentalfitnessacademy.co. And then obviously on LinkedIn, I'm very happy to be contacted and to revert to anybody who has more questions about either mental fitness or how we potentially collaborate with various corporations and bringing this more to the forefront. I want to mention that I also presented, I'm part of other organizations as well, and both at VAB and the other one, Diversify, I actually brought this mental fitness into a presentation, and I held a masterclass called Leadership of the Future, because this is really a big factor for the leaders of the future. We should not ignore the world we are in right now.
No, absolutely. And bringing all those elements is key. Whenever I think about these topics like mental fitness, there's a popular television show in the US called Billions. And there's one of the lead characters on the show is a woman who essentially is a mental fitness psychologist for a leading hedge fund. And it's those scenes with her as she's coaching the team is unbelievable. It's like a master class of how you need to think through challenges and giving you those tools. And it is true. It's quite amazing how the world has shifted. You know, I would say at the beginning of my career, if someone was sent for coaching, it was probably a sign that you're about to get sacked.
Exactly. Yes, it was a big weakness, a big like, oh my God, or if you had to see a therapist, oh my God, he's mad. He has something.
But now I think that if you have a coach, it's almost like it means that you're important.
Yes, you are. But just think about it. You go to the gym and you give yourself high five whenever you lift, I don't know, whatever your next target is. It's the same with the mental fitness. You should give yourself high five, say, hey, I had an amazingly difficult situation. And you know what? I managed to deal with it in a way that I can congratulate myself. That's mental fitness.
Yeah, I
you
love
know how to turn a thing, and but it's so simple, but actually if you do it, if you look into it, if you work with someone, there are simple things, but you know what, common sense is not common. You know what they say.
That's a great line. Common sense is not common. Well, on that one, Greta, maybe we should end this. We've been speaking with Gretta Antonescu. She is doing amazing things. She has a 19-year career that really kind of spans almost every area of the financial services industry: strategy, government, digitalization, and regulatory practices. She played a key role as a leader for Credit Suisse for many years. And now she's actually serving in corporate governance roles and really expanding kind of the bridge between psychology and performance for businesses. So Greta, very exciting stuff you're working on. We look forward to having you back on the show and hearing about how things are evolving.
Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to the next time.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.